Hey, this week we're talking about one of my favorite holidays, which is just around the corner, Halloween. And I want to start off by talking about one of the earliest origins of trick-or-treating, known as souling. Now, souling was a tradition that dates as far back to 993 AD, where in old English towns on Halloween, or as they called it back then, All Hallows Eve, to honor and remember the dead of the past, children and poverty-stricken adults would go door to door, either singing songs or reciting prayers in remembrance of the dead, and they would do this to be awarded with soul cakes. A soul cake is basically just a cake made out of oatmeal or gingerbread, and they use sweet spices or cinnamon and raisins in the soul cake. And the idea behind this is that if you eat a soul cake, it releases a soul out of purgatory so that it can ascend up to heaven. Obviously, this is different from our modern trick-or-treating rituals now, where trick-or-treaters just dress up in a costume and then they're rewarded with a delicious candy such as this one. Except this candy here is laced with marijuana. In states like Colorado and Washington, marijuana has been legalized. And so for Halloween 2014, this is a new thing that parents need to be extra vigilant about. Denver police released a PSA on their Facebook and YouTube pages earlier this month, cautioning parents about this very thing, as you will see in this clip.
Edibles account for somewhere between 20 and 30% of our gross sales here in the shop. What's happening a lot with the edible manufacturers who have focused on a hard or a soft candy is that the most cost-effective way for them to bring that to the market is to use knockoff candy. And so they'll buy it in bulk form, and they infuse it by using viscous hash oil. They spray that onto the candy, and once that candy dries, there's really no way to tell the difference between infused and candy that's not infused. The problem is that some of these products look so similar to candy that's been on the market that we've eaten as children that there's really no way for a child or a parent or anybody, even an expert in the field, to tell you whether or not a product is infused or not. Once you take something out of one of these packages, put it next to something that isn't infused, it's very difficult to tell the difference. What we would recommend is, if anything that your child brings home that doesn't look like it's from a company like Hershey's or one of the larger manufacturers, whoever owns Sour Patch Kids or any of those, they don't look like something familiar you've been through, it's best just to toss that stuff into the trash and not let your child consume it. If it looks like the package has been tampered with whatsoever, we should use those same practices we've been using since I was a child, that it's best to dispose of that candy.
In reference to this PSA, Dr. G. Sam Wang, a pediatric ER doctor at Children's Hospital of Colorado in Denver, stated that in our emergency department in the past couple years, we've seen an increase of kids with edible exposures. It is one of those things that we're concerned about and keeping our eyes open for. And finally, it wouldn't be Halloween without talking about one of the most controversial or offensive costumes of the season. It seems now that for every year, it's just a common thing for us to see an offensive costume. Last year, Julianne Hough really nailed it with her blackface costume of Crazy Eyes from Orange is the New Black. This year, though, it seems that brandsonsale.com is selling what is surely going to be the most offensive costume of this Halloween season. They are selling an Ebola containment suit. And a lot of people are saying that this is just too soon and that is just plain wrong, considering that Ebola is an outbreak that we're dealing with right now in 2014 and it's killed so many thousands of people. For example, Philadelphia physician's assistant Maria McKenna thinks that the Ebola costume is just plain sick and not in a good way. And since 2 fellow medical practitioners have tested positive for the disease, she says that it definitely rubs her the wrong way. However, New York Post columnist Kyle Smith is suggesting people just not be so deadly serious about the Ebola costumes. He says that since everybody dies, when we make fun of Ebola, we're just mocking our own fears of death. Pretty much the whole purpose of Halloween, he says, is to whistle past the graveyard, to score one small point against the Grim Reaper by having a quick giggle before he cuts us all down with his mighty scythe. So, what do you guys all think about this? Do you think that this Ebola costume is a big deal and that it's insensitive or offensive? And also, how do you feel about these marijuana or THC-laced edible candies that children might possibly get their hands on this Halloween? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be back next week with a brand new video on a new topic. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. And once again, thank you very much for watching.